I would like to ask you this week is, how do you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally? Okay, I'm gonna start with Donna.
Today, I'm very positive, upbeat, feel joyful. Doesn't happen every day, but today I'm grateful that it is today.
And physically?
Physically, good. Feel good, energized.
And mentally?
Mentally also. And it was a beautiful day. I went out for an hour walk this morning, and the sun was just gorgeous. And I also want to share this real quick. There was a lady that was sitting out by her driveway. She was dressed in all white, and she was sitting in a chair, and she was meditating. But from afar, I could see her energy around her. It was like, what is that? It looked like, I swear to you, it looked like an angel. Like an angel. I kept like blinking. And as I walked closer, there she was. She was sitting there meditating. I like so much wanted to sit down with her. I didn't know her, you know, but then when I came back around, she was gone. So, I don't know.
Well,
anyway.
at least you got to see her.
I know. Very delightful.
Thank you for sharing that. Virginia.
In this moment, I feel energized and balanced. My body is vibrating after that meditation.
Okay.
I do feel mentally focused and emotionally well.
Thank you. Jenny.
Today I feel balanced, and it's changeable every hour.
I think we can relate.
Yeah, I think so too. Also today, uniquely, I feel for the first time that I have a presence of who I am and where I'm headed. Not materially out in the world, but just in myself, which is really kind of what's exciting. And that just came in the last hour. So yeah, balanced, calm, and in my own, I guess is the best way.
Thank you. Elsa.
Well, I wasn't feeling very good prior to this meditation. And now after this meditation, I feel very powerful, I will say. I feel tingling still. I'm still hot and dizzy and energized. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Elsa. Sarah.
Okay. I'm saying, I think right now I feel very much at peace. I feel calm and very grateful and just kind of in the moment. My body isn't necessarily energized, but I'm not feeling fatigued. I'm just kind of at peace, mentally and physically.
Okay. Emotionally, you're calm.
Yes.
Okay.
And grateful.
Awesome. Penny.
Thank you.
Penny.
Well, today I feel the best I've felt in a long time. Yesterday, I had a combination birthday party, celebration of life for my mom with my aunt and 3 cousins here at the house. And everything was perfect. And I know mom was smiling, and it brought closure from my aunt and me both. And we were it just brought us all closer together as a family. And I'm full of joy today. I'm feeling I'm feeling up physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. It was something I'd planned for like a month. And so I was on pins and needles for about a month, just trying to make sure everything came together. And then it rained yesterday morning and I went, oh no, but it all came together so well. And we had such a good time and I showed slideshows and it was great. It was great. So I'm feeling great all the way around.
Thank you. Raslila.
Yes, I'm shortening it to Lila. It's easier. I feel energized. Yeah, after that was an excellent meditation. Thank you, Virginia. I feel very healthy, balanced, energized, peaceful, calm. I feel a lot of, before the class, I was just feeling a lot of gratitude and, a sense of oneness. I was out for the last hour out by my lake with nature and just feeling really grateful to be on this planet and be in Florida.
Okay. Physically, mentally, emotionally, okay? Okay. Me, I am sleepy. I didn't sleep last night, so I did sleep for an hour, but I could not get myself to go to sleep. So I get too curious about things and then I go exploring. So, I'm just somebody who gets interested in things and has to go find out what they are. So that's what keeps me awake most of the nights. Mentally, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty sharp. I may be sleepy, but I feel good. Mentally, I'm balanced, and emotionally, I'm okay. I'm good. It's all good. Okay, so I'm gonna start talking to you about fear. Fear seems to be a subject that we all supposedly have dealt with and deal with on, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but you deal with it in an everyday life. That's how pervasive this is. As many as you know, we are evolving in our consciousness, which means that we are moving out of consciousness that are lower frequency and we're moving into consciousness that are in a higher frequency. So we are moving into higher states of consciousness. Moving, meaning we are being. When we move into something, we are stepping into it. We are being it, whatever we stepped into. Natural process, we call that a natural process. We can call it evolution. We can call it ascension. It is the exact same thing. Moving from one state to another state. So one of the consciousness that we have been inundated with, for fear is a consciousness. It is an energy, just like any other emotion. It is an energy, it moves. All energy moves, every one of them. Fear is very dense as far as energy is concerned. So when we experience fear, it is a slow down consciousness. It becomes in a slower, more heavy, moving consciousness. Joy, on the other hand, is a fast consciousness. It is a higher state, so it spins faster. It is easier to experience it. It is easier to feel it. Joy moves through us quicker because it's not as dense. Still just an emotion is still an energy. You know when you're joyful because you do not fight it, you just let it go through your body. There's no sense of fear. So you're not tense at all. You're just allowing yourself to be that. So we may not find ourselves wallowing in joy. Okay, it just goes through. We experience it, we sort of just let joy be. When you have consciousness like fear, which is a slower spinning consciousness, and when we start to experience it, fear moves very slowly through our system. So when we feel it, we connect to it, we attach to it, we create realities around it, stories around it. Fear becomes big, even though all it is just simple energy, just a simple consciousness moving through us, but it moves very slowly. So we sit in fear. Because of the slowness of that frequency, we sit in fear. We hold on to fear. Have you ever felt that your shoulders were tense, or the back of your neck, or your, you know, the middle of your shoulders, where you're just in tension, with tension? Okay, so it is just a simple consciousness moving through us, but it moves slowly. So we sit in fear, we hold on to fear. Fear stays inside our bodies, creating what we call the cellular memories. So the cellular memories are right there because we created it, because we did not want to feel the fear. We are afraid to feel fear or anything that is uncomfortable. So we hide from it. And the more we hide from it, the more we store it. So fear creates stress, anxiety, worry, sickness. So first, one of the things that I really wanted to get across to everyone today is, can we start to look at fear as solely or just as a consciousness? Can we step out and detach from the power that fear holds and see it just for what it is? It is your little, it makes you feel little in comparison. You are looking at the illusion. Look beyond and see what fear is. It is just an energy. It has no power or control over you. That is how we start to step out of a third dimensional matrix. We start to realize that what we thought was powerful and all encompassing in our truth was just an illusion and fear. It is the exact same way we are starting to step out of fear. We are starting to release the grip of fear that that it has on us. One of one of many things that fear does when we start to consume it, because we are consuming fear rather than releasing it. It's a consumption. Something happens externally, or or something has happened in the past, or something may happen in the future, and we allow ourselves to start to feel or experience fear. And this is how powerful fear is. It will create the illusion, not that it will create what we feel. It will create the illusion of disempowerment. You will feel helpless, hopeless and hopeless. You now are not empowered. You will feel like you do not have the ability to make a choice. You will feel like you are disembodied, or rather said, a sort of out of alignment with who you are. You will start looking to the external for your validation, for your power, for your voice. It is very manipulative and controlling consciousness. We are so used to experiencing it as a collective, as on a daily thing, that many times we do not even realize that we are digesting fear. We do not even realize it. We see it as a message, It is information. It is what so-and-so is telling me. It is what the news says it is. It is what this person on YouTube is saying. Go beyond the physical illusion and dive deeper into what you are digesting, which for many of us is fear. When you listen to a message, when you hear somebody speaking, when you have an engagement with somebody, do you start to feel fear? How will I know? I will start to have physical palpitations of some sort, perhaps stress, anxiety, worry. My heart might start to beat faster. I will start to feel disempowered. I will start to look to the external. I will start to feel as if I have no choice. I cannot make a choice any longer. It is so debilitating. It is crazy because we sit there. We actually just sit there with the fear. And we go, we're not even sure why we're moving slower or why we keep on tripping or why we keep on forgetting things. It's because we're trying to keep that fear out of our life, out of to be expressed. We just don't, we just won't allow it. We'd rather be tense and nervous and spend 3 hours doing something than the hour it takes because we don't want to feel. I'm just gonna stretch this as much as possible so I don't get to feel. It is crazy. And the thing is that we're fighting is just an energy. It does nothing unless you give it the power to do so. So it is crazy what fear will do, and here's the layering of fear. There is an instinctual fear, like do not go jump off that cliff. There is a fear of jumping off the cliff because you are going to kill yourself. So that is an instinctual fear, fight or flight fear. That is not the fear that I'm talking about. That is an internal instinctual fear that the human has to keep themselves safe. The fears that I'm talking about are fears that are created. Did somebody say something? Okay. The fears that I'm talking about are fears that are created from a past trauma, abuses, emotions, beliefs, all based on past behaviors. These are based on in a past that you have had, where you had experienced that. In the now, maybe creating fear. I am afraid of getting into a relationship. I'm afraid of leaving my job because I might not have money because, 13 years ago when I lost my job, I had no money. I'm afraid of having a child because 15 years ago, I tried to have a child and it didn't happen, blah, 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 blah. So there are all these scenarios that we experience now. These scenarios create fear within us based on the past. Then there are all the fears that we experience now based on a future. I am afraid that I will always be alone as I'm getting older. I'm stuck with what I have because if I move from what I have, the little I have, I am comfortable and I might not want to separate or leave because I might lose what little I have. I am afraid that I will never make money. I am afraid that I will be in my job forever. I am afraid to retire because of all the stigma that goes with it. There are these fears. They are not in the now moment. These are either past or future. If you will notice, usually in the moment, there is no fear. Even when we're in a hospital with somebody who's being taken care of, at the moment they're being taken care of unless they already died. But we are already experiencing what we are predicting the future to be. So they're not real until that happens. And by that time, you don't get to be in the fear. You already now have to deal with the situation. What fear prevents you from doing is being calm. So when the situation arises, you can just get up and do whatever you need to do. It's just energy. There are these fears, they are not in the now moment. They are based on something that you are predicting that may or may not happen. Actually, 90-some% of the time, they do not happen. So start to pay attention to your fears that you're experiencing, because when you are in a now moment state, the fear that you are having is minuscule. As long as you're in the now moment, because you are present, your body might be reacting for a second and then you bring it back into alignment and you said, I got this. Move with the intention of, I got this. I can do this. You cannot get something if it's in the future or if it's in the past. You can never grasp it. You can only deal with the present. I don't know if you know that. Okay. So the fear will be minuscule compared to the fears that we create based on a past or a future. And the fear that you are fearing in a now moment is based on external, based on media-based, government-based, on the scientific community, based on any system coming in. Is that fear that you are feeling based on a now moment? Is your fear based on a now moment? Most likely it is not. Most likely it is that fear that you are feeling based on a now moment. Most like it or not, most likely it is based on something that is coming in something new. So we are dissecting fear, okay? So here's a couple of things, a couple of questions that you can start to ask yourself, because the more we dissect fear, the easier it is to break free of fear, because we are always going to feel it. Understand that fear is not going away. Because you have too many cellular memories, your body will be reactive. So you will always feel it, but the thing is, you will recognize it as you feel it, that it is not in the moment, so it's not true. It's an illusion. We are going to feel it, we are understanding, and we are standing in a third-dimensional matrix. And when you stand in a third-dimensional matrix or a third-dimensional field, you have access to the third-dimensional consciousness, which is fear. So feeling fear is not wrong or bad. It's just an emotion. Only an emotion. It is part of being in this human body, standing on and in a third-dimensional matrix. Nothing wrong with feeling fear. Nothing wrong with feeling anything that we feel. That is part of the third-dimensional consciousness, but the key here is to understand it and to break out of it. So it does not have control over you. You are the magician playing in this third-dimensional field. You are playing in it, so you are going to feel fear. The key is, can I just see it as energy moving through my body? kind of like a sloth moves. I'm trying to give you a visual of what the slowness of the movement of fear. But it does not have control over me. I am in charge. I am always in charge. So I'm just going to feel the fear, just like I will feel joy, just like I will feel peace, just like I will feel love. It is not different. It's just energy. It is just a different feeling to it. It it just feels physically different on your body, and it has different characteristics that you may respond to. It is not, it is not, it is not in charge. It does not own you, and it does not create your reality. You create your reality. It does not create your reality unless you allow it to. So here are some questions to ask yourself. First, is this fear that I am feeling? First, feel the fear. Number one, feel the fear. Feel what it is first. You must feel the fear. I know most people immediately try to run away from it. Second, is this based on a now moment? The second, is this based on a now moment? You have to ask yourself that, because a lot of times we believe the fear when it has nothing to do with the now moment. It has nothing to do with my now moment. And I start to ask myself, do I feel safe right now? Is this now moment, in this now moment, do I feel safe? And what I mean by that is safe to feel, safe to express, safe to walk around in the house. Maybe you do not. There is no right or wrong answer, but you ask yourself these questions. Third, is this my fear, or did it come from the external? Your fear will be something from the past or something from the future. Perhaps that you are afraid of, or something from the external. Where is your fear coming from? Get clear on it. This is how we dissect it. Fourth, what is the fear story? What is this fear telling you? What is the storyline? Remember, it is just an energy of fear. It's just an energy. And you give it the power that you are choosing to give it. Fear is just a now moment when it happens. If it is in your now moment, otherwise it's an illusion that is not even real. So what is the story that fear is telling you? Do you want to believe it or not? Is it even real? So you do have choices. It is your choice. And fifth, can I just read it through without reacting or going into it? Can I just read it through without reacting or going into it? Meaning, if somebody tells me something and it creates that internal fear, suddenly I am feeling that fear energy moving through me. Can I just breathe it through without buying into it, without attaching to it, without making it my fault or my reality? This is a choice over and over and over throughout your day. It's not every once in a while when something major comes up. You are always reactive throughout the day. It's not, an occasional thing. We're always reacting, and you can catch yourself by checking your body. Is it tense? Can you breathe? Are you breathing regularly? Are you having problems breathing? Are you breathing shallow? that means you are repressing your emotion. Like I say, this is a choice over and over and over. Whether you allow fear to control you or not, it is an absolute choice. So you decide whether you want to feel the fear or not. You feel the fear, you let it go. You don't feel the fear and you suffocate it and press it down and compress it, and then you become depressed, and then you become angry, and then until you finally explode. So it's not worth it. Fear is not the powerful nebulous entity that is waiting to pounce on you. It isn't, it's just energy. It has no power unless you choose to give it power. It is not powerful unless you allow it to be powerful. First is feel the space in your body where you're feeling that fear in the now. Second, do I feel safe right here, right now? Third, is this my fear or did it come from the external? Fourth, what is the story around the fear? And fifth, can I just sit and breathe it through without reacting or going into it? We are not here to evolve or ascend by holding on to fear, by letting fear control us. We are becoming multidimensional sovereign creator beings, which means that no consciousness that that can be experienced in the third dimensional field has control over me. Not anything in the third dimension can control me because my power comes from me. And what I give the power to hurt me or to control me is me allowing that power to be still my choice. There's no such thing as an outside source coming to emotionally, mentally, or coming to hurt you. It is you expanding something and making predictions over things that you cannot, that are new, that you don't really know how they're going to evolve. And when we do that, we already set the parameters of what to expect. And because we're already expecting it, we are actually setting the intention of an expectation. When that happens, then we are already setting ourselves up for, to be in more fear or to make it happen, because we are allowing ourselves to be controlled by it. All consciousness, emotion, thought, belief, and behavior are strictly energies. I am in charge of how I respond to any energy, any of the energies, always. You are not a victim even of fear, and you always have a choice on how you navigate fear, always. This is how powerful you are as a creator being in physical form, experiencing this reality, shifting from third dimensional matrix and field into the fifth dimensional matrix and field. Fear has no power over you. You are so much more powerful. It is so amazing that what we are here to do as we start to courageously peel back the layers, the layers of fear. So that is the subject of fear. And I'm gonna stop for a second and let you guys talk because I need to drink some water. So questions? Yes, Jenny.
As I learn through the Course in Miracles that my errors in perception can be atoned for, I can release them or give them up, ask for healing in them. So as you were noting the steps to work through fear, clearly I'm not doing those steps. I'm going directly to ask for the atonement that clearly I don't see this correctly, it's an error, and that, you know, please heal this error in my perception. But I don't take the time to really feel what the fear is, or the anxiety or panic or anything. And I'm wondering, I'm doing myself a disservice. Am I, you know, should I from now on go through that process before I just automatically say this is an error, so please heal it?
I'm not disqualifying the Course in Miracles because I also teach that. What I'm adding to it, I am adding the step of the releasing. You cannot release if you do not feel it. Every time that you feel something and you become tense because you don't want to feel it, and you get angry and you get contracted, your body contracts and you start feeling more shallow. Every time you do that, you put it into your body. It becomes stored in the body as a cellular memory. The body is your unconscious. It is your subconscious, it's your unconscious part of you that you're not aware of. And it all gets stored in your body. So what we're trying to do is allow that emotion to come out. The emotions of fear that you have that we have so carefully managed to stuff because we don't want to feel it. Okay, so that's the major cause. The Course in Miracles also talks about the feeling of guilt. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to feel guilt, and guilt is punishment, and punishment must be pain. So therefore, if I am feeling something painful or something fearful, it must be punishment. So we don't want to feel it because we are not guilty. Okay, and that's the major number one thing that I usually focus on about what to look at when I'm looking at something. It's like, okay, what am I guilty of? Am I guilty of something? No. Did you not do something right in the past that you must always anticipate the future? You know, am I afraid of the future because I hear so many things, or I was hearing somebody, one of my friends was going, oh my God, we're getting older. And I don't know if we're going to have money to live on. I don't know if we are going to be, if we're retired, how much money do you get? And if you do this, and if you do that, and if, with no end in sight. And these are things that most people deal with, but they do not, just on certain parts. I'm not talking about everybody, but a lot of the population that is not well off usually falls into these categories. If you're not married, or if you're married, would you divorce because by yourself you cannot make it? Things like that. And it creates just a lot of fear. But the thing about the fear is that it's not here right now. You cannot resolve anything in the future or in the past. You have to be present. And you can only, and are only anointed to deal with the present. You're not anointed to deal with the future or the past, because it's a storyline then. It is an illusion. So I will say, yes, go ahead and do the, it's what I've been asking everybody to do in this past month, because it is one of the things that has everyone feeling tense and anxious and worried and suffocating in different things, because what will people think, and if I don't do this correct, and if I mess up over here, and if I don't do this right, And oh my God, is that the end of the world? Is that what's going to happen? Is, you know, the whole world is going to come crashing on you? Or, but they might not look at me the same way. Oh my God, they might think that I'm not the perfect person that I think I think they think I am. It's not even, they're all stories, all of them. While the other person might not even be looking at you, might saying, I wonder if I wore the right shoes. You know, it's totally different. So you got that?
Yeah, I did. Your examples were good details to see the mental process that we go through when we're in some kind of a lower vibration emotion.
Right.
And the final, I would say for me anyway, the final goal once I go through those steps would be to acknowledge my perception of of me being separated, and from, you know, divine, that everything we have and we need is provided for us. And so that gives me the stronger, it's like the lock to doing those questions. It locks in, it will lock in, because I haven't done it yet, what you've recommended. So it would lock in for me that truth that I don't know the future. I only know now, and the past has nothing to do with it because it doesn't exist. And that,
but you know how we start to worry. The worry is a fear for the future. You know,
exactly. Oh, trust me,
worry and anxiety had to do with the future, and we're like this, you know, pins and needles, and then it's not even happening now. You cannot work with that.
Right. Well, so, you know, sometimes I feel like I've worked with it by giving it up and asking, you know, for a correction in this error. But I'll wake up right in the morning, and there will be anxiety in the pit of my stomach, and I have no idea what it's related to. So
exactly, because do you know why you don't know what it is?
Because I didn't work through it.
Because it's a cellular memory. You can no longer process it through your mind because you probably already processed it in the mental level. But the physical will still be reactive.
Yeah. So I get that. That makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you for clarifying, Angie. That's excellent.
Okay. Yes, Donna.
She brings up a good point, because I was going to ask a question about that, but because that's what I want to do really quick. Get rid of it. Give it to the robot. Get rid of it.
Right. That's the mental.
Yes. But she actually answered it for me when she said, but when I wake up in the morning and that anxiety is there, and I can relate to that, because that's happened too to me. That means to me, I got to work on it. I have to work on it. I have to feel it. I got to work through it. So you both kind of
feel it and let it go. You don't have to work. It's just a feeling. It's not that hard. It's not, oh my God, I have this loads of things to do. It's a feeling. Process it like you do love and peace and harmony. You just let it go through. Remember how you feel when joy is going through your body or when peace is going through your body. It's just a feeling.
It's but it doesn't like it. It doesn't
because
like
you put
because
you're putting connotations of what it may mean, and it's not even real because it's not here.
No, that's true.
Because when it's here, you have to deal with it. You don't have time to start speculating, should I be afraid? You just have to jump in and do whatever needs to be done. You don't have time for fear then.
Yeah, and that is my perception. Oh my gosh, I'm afraid. Oh no, here comes that fear feeling. Yeah, that's my perception.
Right, and everybody's trying to run away from the fear feeling. Like if it was some kind of a monster, and it isn't. And it has no control over you. But people think that they are at the mercy of it. But you're not your feelings, and you're not your emotions, and you're not your thoughts. It has no control unless you give it to it. And even then you're making the choice. So you're still the one behind the power of whatever is happening. So did you have a question?
That you both really answered it already. I did have a question, but it was answered. I just wanted to tell you that I was
Okay,
able to go
thank
through
you.
it. Thank you.
Sarah, did you have a question?
Yeah, just something that came to my mind, like, for example, speaking a little bit more about that anxiety, when you just wake up first thing in the morning and you have this anxiety, but you don't know what it's about. Beyond the cellular memory aspect, is it possible too that you're just picking up on the like collective consciousness? And if so, how do you know, or do you treat it any differently? Or, you know what I mean? How do you move forward from that?
You're going to feel that. You're going to feel your side of it, of the collective. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to still process it. You're not going to say, oh, it's the collective. Huh? Okay, goodbye. How
Right.
easy. No, it's your body's reacting, asking you to feel. When you feel like that, it's because your body's saying, hey, pay attention. I want you to do
Okay.
something. Okay, it's your body giving you a message.
And either way, we should handle it the way we would if it were like a cellular memory.
Exactly.
Just same. No, okay.
Right.
Which would be to feel it, let it go, give it over to the robot, and know, and then decide what is your truth, that is not your truth, and to make a statement about your own truth.
Right.
Make a different choice. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Thank
Penny?
you.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of that, well, I have to say that exactly what Sarah just.
Jenny,
Yeah.
I asked Penny because Penny was before
I'm
you.
sorry, I thought you said Jenny. I'm perfectly fine. Sorry, Penny, you go ahead.
That's all right. Sounds like a lot. No, I was just thinking, I think a word that I use that's perfectly what you've been saying is when I ruminate about something. I ruminate, and that clearly means that this fear is probably not at all. Probably this fear has total control of me because it just kind of goes over in my head over and over and over and over. So I think that helped. I'm not actually asking a question, but I'm just kind of saying that helped to understand the difference between fear, which is now, like you said, if somebody's holding a gun at you, you're going to try to decide what you need to do now. And it's a real fear as opposed to something where you're just, your mind starts spinning and you're ruminating. So I appreciate that difference. Thank you.
And also the idea that it's a responsibility to take action and not blame something else, like, oh, it's outside, it's somewhere out there. It's not me, that's why I'm feeling this and that's why I'm scared. No, it's more like, no, I'm not my feelings, I'm not my emotions. I decide what I feel and I decide how I intend that energy to go. Because it's not outside of your realm, that is you. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jenny?
In reference to that outside realm and us working through what we're working through, and feeling the outside, those that are outside, those emotions, like feel my daughter, like it's my emotion. Sometimes I know it's her I'm sensing. By me working through it, doing my work, it's influencing everything outside of me though too, isn't it? By me working and raising that vibration, it affects the raising of the vibration of others that we might be, sensing.
Right. There is no way that you can come up with other people coming up with you. This just doesn't happen, So just keep that in mind. Elsa, do you have any questions?
I couldn't get the microphone off. Yes. But let me put my thoughts together. You got me out of the thing. Um, when you have the fear, how you component where you go back to the story and get the story, because you said that you need to identify it, feel it, identify it, right?
You have to
And if
feel it. Yes, step number one, feel it.
uh-huh.
And then secondly, do you feel safe with it? Where is it coming from? External, internal? I mean,
Right,
so I gave you the 5 steps on how to process that.
right. So if you get to know what the story is and the fear comes from the past, how do you do with that? How did you deal with that?
All you have to do is feel it. Go through the steps, and that is how you feel. It doesn't matter if it comes from the past or the future. The steps still remain the same process, whether it's past or future. If it's present, all you have to do is call the observer in.
So it's still part of our server.
No, only if it's in the present moment. If you start the moment, somebody said something and you start begin to feel tense, that's a sign that you're going into fear. So all you have to do is call the observer. It says, oh, here comes a fear that is not mine.
Okay. So,
Because
but when the fear comes from the past and is affecting your now, you just go through the steps.
exactly.
Okay, got
Because
it.
truly in the present, you cannot experience fear. When you're in the
Got it.
present, and then if you're in the present and somebody says something and that shook you up or something and you start to go into fear, but if you catch it, then you immediately go into that, and it becomes a non-issue because you caught it at the time that it came in. That's like Camille says, it's minuscule. How to deal with that rather than having to sit there and let it fester, and then you have cellular memory, and then you wake up and you're anxious and you are have worry and anxiety and all of those things. So best thing to do is to deal with it. So it doesn't matter if it's from the past because you are dissolving it in the present. And it doesn't have to be the same situation because fear is fear. That
So
gets
you're saying
accumulated.
because I already identify it, I will be able to dissolve the cellular memory or whatever I apprentice in the past, and it will be able to dissolve it because I identify it.
Uh-huh.
That's what
So
you're saying.
what I'm saying is if you follow the steps from 1 to, what was it? 1 to
5.
5. Uh-huh. If you follow them, and I repeated the steps twice. So if you go back into what I said, go ahead and do that, and you will be clearing your cellular memory.
Great.
Sometimes, and then more fear will come from a different, it could be the same event in a different format, but you still will have to, but you still will treat it the same way.
It will be treated the same way. Okay.
All
That's
right.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Barbara?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've been doing I've had a lot of time because I haven't really been able to do anything for a couple of months, mostly. And so I've been doing the lessons of the course, and how I've been doing them differently is when a thought comes up that isn't congruent with what I'm reading or trying to take into myself, I just stop it. I have actually been able to do that. And for me, I don't understand fear of the past. I mean, I understand fear of the future because I think in my case, that's where all the fear is. It's not for the past. I mean, because the past is gone.
No,
I don't
but
see anything in the past.
let me answer that for a second. Let me answer that. The fear of the past is not that the past is going to come and haunt you, but you have several memories of things that happened in the past, and something in the present or in the future is presenting itself that looks like the past, and your body will react to it because in the past you did not deal with it, and you now started being fearful of what happened in the past, to what's
I
happening
haven't
in the future.
experienced that very
And
much.
okay, one more thing, the stopping it is you're actually it's one thing to stop it, and it's another thing to suppress it, because we can stop feelings at any time. I mean, we can. We're masters at it, especially fear. But what we're asking you to do in this class is to feel the fear, to know that there's nothing more than energy. That's all it is just energy. You should not be afraid of it.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm actually, when I feel fear, I'm very aware that that's what I'm feeling. But then I think that for me, before the fear comes a thought. What if? What if this? What if that? You know, like you said, what if I don't have enough of money? What if I, get sick and can't, whatever. That's what for me, when I have that thought, then I have the fear. So I'm just saying that, I'm very aware I have the fear. I mean, I am feeling it because I'm aware I have it. But for me, it's as though I look at the thought and go, well, I guess I go, that's not pertinent right now and that's not real. So why would I carry this thought in my head?
Okay, what is the question?
Well, the question is, it's not really a question. It's just I'm just sharing my observation about how I've been handling fear, and it seems to work really well for me. I'm not repressing it. I'm not saying, oh, gee, I'm not afraid. I mean, I'm so brave. I'm not doing that. But I look at the thought that seemed to trigger the fear, and I look at the thought and I say, this thought isn't real. And like I say, for me, it's always about the future. It's not about the past. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking a thought about the future, which is actually, I'm making up in my head entirely, because what do I know about the future? I'm not really good at predicting it, I found out. So knowing that has helped me a lot in just not actually getting sucked into the fear and actually not believing it, not believing the thought.
Okay. It is, yeah, only if you are fearful. Everything you project into the future, that you're afraid of the future, does not come from the future. It comes from the past. Your fears are the fear of your experience of past happenings, and
Part
then
of
we
the stuff
project into the future. So I just want you to pay attention to what it is that you are looking at.
Nancy, could you give us an example of that past, like what Barbara's saying? Can you give us an example of how fear in the past?
Yeah, let's. So okay, I can be at home and well, not me because this didn't happen to me, but so here comes the children after school, and you have a mother who's an alcoholic, and you have a father who's an alcoholic, and they start being yelled at and screamed at and this and that, okay? And it happened a long time ago, and 40 years later on a Tuesday, you're sitting there with a bunch of people, and I'm saying you will be reactive to that, but I'm just putting an example in the present. So now 40 years later, and you're sitting there and somebody starts to yell and scream, and people start reacting, getting, and they're already reactive, like, don't scream, don't shout, or not, they can't say that because they couldn't shut their parents up, and they are reactive. The body starts contracting, they begin to squirm and feel uncomfortable like they did when they were kids, and that is a reactive in the future, like, oh my God, I'm gonna go see my friends, and this one is behaves this way, and I don't want to put up with that, and you're projecting, but you are projecting from the past, knowing what that friend is like, without giving the friend the benefit of the doubt that it might be that she might behave differently or he might behave differently. We already have a preset idea of how that person behaves. And because we have that, we actually help create that. So that is two examples I gave you of how you take the past to the future. Got it? Penny? I cannot hear you.
I shook my head, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barbara?
I suppose as far as the past is concerned, I've spent a lot of time revisiting my perceptions of the past and changing my mind about them.
Right.
Changing my mind about perceptions.
mean,
Being aware of that I wasn't exact as a child or even as an adult. The way I saw the situation was awry, so to speak. So
Okay.
so if I visit the past, then I look at it and I go, well, what made me react like that? What made me think like that? What kind of perception or perhaps idea in my mind that I have that I need to look at and change?
Okay. So, I mean, we're just now giving ideas of how you deal with what you have, and that's fine as long as it's helping you delete the erase the cellular memory. You don't have to go in the past, all you have to do is feel the present, which is something else that is different when you're looking at a psychological point of view to a spiritual point of view. I don't have to look at my past. All I have to do is see how I'm feeling right now and deal with it from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to travel backwards in time. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I'm going to jump to something else. I started to talk about this last week and couldn't finish because we ran out of time. So I started talking about the feeling of being detached right now. It's getting very real, that feeling, in terms of ascending or shifting into higher frequencies. I also want to preface that if you're not feeling any of this, that it is perfectly okay. We do not all need to be feeling the exact same experiences, and it does not mean that you are not shifting or evolving. It just means that in this now moment, you are experiencing something totally different. However, many of us are feeling or going to be feeling or have been feeling powerful shifts on an energetic level within our bodies. One of those shifts is this feeling of being detached, almost like you are floating. What is energetically occurring is that your body is starting to anchor itself into what we call a fifth dimensional field. So right now we are standing physically and anchored in a third dimensional field or third dimensional matrix. So we are tied to it. We have this like tentacles out to connect us to how this matrix works. For example, we pay bills, we commit to things, we have relationships There are things that we watch on television or on a computer screen, whatever that is. There are these tentacles that go out when you are anchored in a third dimensional matrix or field that create a reality. Now, I started to explain last week that what I meant by that, it had to do with the when we release the thought and creates a and that thought is released and it's thrown out and is going to go attached to a pendulum. The pendulum of what you're thinking, you're going to be recreating of what you're thinking and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. You know, but if you have the feeling and the thought at the time that that pendulum comes, that pendulum is going to take it all the way to the finish line. So you have to be careful because your thoughts are prayers. So, like I was saying, these tentacles that go out when we are anchored in a third dimensional matrix or field that creates a reality and how we sort of function. So this is how we in the third dimension create a reality by sending all these tentacles out, by sending all these thoughts and feelings outwardly. Your energy field is usually very smooth except when you're intending. When you're intending is sparking and is throwing energy out, is throwing the thought that aligns to other thoughts of the same quality that create the pendulum. When you start to move, when your body starts to hold higher frequencies within it, you literally start to detach from this, detaching from the the tentacles. And you detach in a very physical way, very physical, which can feel very disorienting at times because it can feel like you have moved out of these tentacles, kind of shifted out, freed yourself from these tentacles, and now you are kind of looking down at the matrix, but you're still standing in it because we're in the third dimension, and 1 foot on the fifth and 1 foot on the third. So we have to be careful how we navigate our ascension process. So so there's this feeling of being detached, and what happens is a couple of different things. One, you are becoming more and more as of your whole complete being, and you are feeling your resonance and your energetic field, your signature, which is your frequency even more, which means that it is becoming impossible to not speak your truth. If you find yourself more outspoken, for things you used to be more tight-lipped, that's what I mean by that. It is becoming impossible to not hold boundaries that you need in forms of relationships or anything else in the external. Boundaries are extremely important as you start to detach and become more of this higher dimensional aspect or version of you. So you will find yourself starting to stand up for yourself more in ways that you had not before. Speaking up, these are things that you are going to start experiencing if you haven't already. The more we anchor into the fifth deep consciousness, anchoring meaning physically experiencing ourselves in this higher realm, the more you will not be able to stay silent. The more that you will have to start to create the changes in your life that you have known were coming for quite some time. Perhaps that intuitive knowingness, I feel like this is happening. This is you talking. I feel like this is happening. I feel like I should be doing this. I feel like I need to be doing that. Uh, that was like a precursor to the now detached sort of a phase that a lot of us are in, where we're in like, oh, this is my beingness now. I am. I am being in these higher realms. I am so close and connected to this version of me that is more light and more vibration, more frequency. Uh, you cannot deny the frequency and the vibration. Cannot deny that it is impossible for you to try to get back once you are more anchored in the fifth dimension. So you will start looking at things like, I don't fit here anymore. You know, places where I used to be comfortable with, friends that I used to be comfortable with. Why am I not fitting in? Your frequency has shifted. Your frequency is elevated, and you will no longer feel comfortable in playing in the mud, so to speak. Uh, so this is literally the physical body detaching from the matrix, exiting out of all these tentacles that connect you to the third dimensional matrix. And you are starting to find yourself floating into a higher realm, and you will find yourself needing to speak, needing to command, needing to hold firmer boundaries, needing to exit out of certain things, enter certain things. The way the third dimensional matrix works may not align with you as you continue to exit out, as you're exiting out of it. So give yourself more compassion. Ask yourself daily, every now moment, what is it that I need right now? What is it that I want right now? I don't usually use the word need. I go with the word want. What do I want right now? Not what others need or want, but what do I want? What do I want to do? What do I need to speak? What do I need to be? What do I need to do? Without holding the responsibility or guilt of how others are going to respond or react to it, because as we start to detach from this matrix, we stop holding the responsibility of these reactions and responses. That somebody else wanted you to do something. That's somebody else's script. You don't have to fill their script, fulfill their script. That is somebody else's wanting to do something and taking you along for the ride. Agree with me or else. You don't have to feel guilty about that. So the responses, how they respond, how to how we are being, and the choices that we make, we just can't happen anymore. We just can't seem to fit in the boxes we fit before. You know, where we allow people to put us in because we're getting something out of it, whatever the payoff was. I'm not going into the payoff talk. This is what happens when we move into higher states of consciousness. So ask yourself, what do I need? What do I want? As often as you can. Find your breath, because your body's starting to increase in frequency and it can feel very anxiety ridden, like you are almost like, how do I do this? How do I be? This feels a little bit unfamiliar or foreign. So again, we get scared and we try to backpedal, but the breath will really allow you to sink deeper into your body and relax. So find your breath and ground yourself. Whatever that means to you, however you do it, you ground yourself. Find a way to ground. whether you literally lay on the ground, whether you're meditating more and grounding your light and energy into the earth. Grounding, grounding is massive right now for all of us, and all of us humans, all of us without exception. We need grounding right now. If you are feeling this detached sort of experience, so again, what do I need right now? What do I want? What do I want to say? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? Where is my breath right now? Breath is everything. Right now, breath is what is going to help you shift. Because I'm going to tell you again, remember to breathe. Can I ground even more into my body like you are? Like you are an electrical current and you need to ground that electricity into the earth, reminding yourself that this too shall pass. Whatever we're going through, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Constantly reminding yourself of this. This too shall pass. Slowing down. This is another thing I wanted to talk to you last week about, to slow down. Here pretty soon we're going to be asked to totally slow down. A lot of us are going to be asked again to slow down and to breathe and remember how to breathe correctly. I have given you in the past several types of breathing exercises for you to oxygenate. So this is a moment in history. This is a moment in your now moment time that will never happen again. And it is an important, potent, powerful moment for you. This is a moment in history that is changing the evolution of mankind. You are shifting. I'm going to repeat that again. You are literally physically sitting on a frequency level. It is miraculous. You can slow down a little. Can you slow down a little bit? Can you take it all in? Can you take time outs? There are simple steps that you can do in every now moment that are so easy and that will literally assist you through this detached space. So again, what do I want in this now moment? Where is my breath? Breathe, grounding in, whether that is through meditation, walking, whatever you need to ground in. This too shall pass, this too shall pass, this too shall pass. And what was the last one? Slowing down. So slow down. We are all going through this in different layers and in different ways. And this is what it feels like to shift consciousness. And there is a lot going on in the external, but again, coming back home to your body, to your signature, to your frequency, honoring it, trusting it, speaking it, being it, and doing it. Be who you are meant to be who you came here to be. We are becoming fifth dimensional beings in human form, meaning our bodies are becoming 5D, moving into 5D. It is crazy, but it is happening fast, pretty fast. So just remember that there's nothing wrong with you. This is why you are here. Speak your truth. Speak truth. Hold these firm boundaries. Do what you want. Do what you need, not what others want. A lot is going to be shifting. A lot is going to change, and the more we can allow it with ease and grace, the easier we will navigate this. So this talk was about anchoring who we are into the fifth dimension. Um, we have the ability to help ourselves to transition easier than go haphazardly and not and suffer through it going kamikaze style. If you allow yourself to feel, and if you allow yourself to breathe and to ground, you allow yourself to become more at ease and more accepting of the energy changes and frequencies. They are coming whether you're ready or not. So it is a lot easier to facilitate the change. It's a lot easier to deal with it now than later. It's a lot easier to deal with everything in the now moments than in the past or the future. You know, most of our lives are ruled from the past. You know, if you feel any tension or any worry or any of those things, know that you're coming from your past, because you had to develop those habits in the past, not in your present, and certainly you haven't experienced them in the future yet. So all of that is a reflection of your past. Okay, I'm opening the floor again. Yes, Jenny.
Yeah, at some point, could we expect to be comfortable at this? Because it's like, it's like, okay, throw the helmet on, here comes another one kind of thing. So, yeah, at what point is this going to be a little, is it like a muscle that we get used to, and then we can finally say, oh, okay, wait, yeah, I'm getting what's happening now. I get it now. I'm not going to panic about it. I'm going to do what you just said. And is it just a matter of practice?
I was, if you're asking me, I'm going to rephrase what you said. If you're asking me that is there a point where you don't have to deal with it? And the answer is no.
No,
And,
well, I mean the discomfort aspect of it.
the discomfort aspect is of your own making. So you have total control on that. The wanting to take responsibility for having that control is something different. You might enjoy the feelings of feeling like the victim, or feeling like, because our not you personally, but your ego may jump in and want to play, and that's the part that you have to rein back into your, speak your truth. The more you speak your truth to yourself, the more that you are able to recognize it. And when something comes against it that it doesn't sound like your truth, you immediately recognize it and you immediately say, this is not my truth. Out you go. And then you say, okay, what is it about this truth that I'm still looking at it? What is the fear in here? And then you go for that fear, you go for that feeling and experience it all. I mean, I had a feeling about somebody dying in the last moments or the last days or the last hours, and I was going through that, and I felt my body, and I'm going, you're not going to resist this, just go ahead and feel it, let it go. And then I went through the whole feeling again, like, is there anything else there? And I allowed myself to feel it until there was nothing left. It might come up maybe a couple of more times, maybe, or maybe not. But the more that I work with it, the more I let it go. But the main fuse, I diffused.
Okay.
So what happens is the more that you diffuse, the lesser it gets, the least, the more that you are able to uh, get yourself back in balance faster.
Okay. So I basically shut it out instead of rolling with it. Exactly what you said you did. I get that. I didn't do it. So it'll come back. So, okay. Good information.
Okay. Donna.
So my question is everybody on Earth going through this change?
They don't recognize it as such because they're known energies.
Okay.
They are people that are filled with fear. They don't recognize it as such. So to them, it's completely normal to feel this way. It's completely normal to feel worried, to be in anxiety, to be pressured, to be in stress. And anybody who feels that and is comfortable there and lives with it is telling me that they're not doing or even attempting to do the work.
So what happens to them then? I mean, we are preparing ourselves.
They cannot move forward.
So they aren't going to the fifth then.
They're stuck between one and the other one, and then depending on which they would be more anchored, depending on the people they hang out with and depending on how willing they are to come forward, to come up, it's their decision. And whatever they decide is okay.
Okay, because you mentioned you had mentioned that everyone is going through the shift. Well, apparently we all are. I guess.
Yeah, because it's the Earth itself that is shifting, and everything on the planet, along with the Earth, are coming up. This is not just ourselves doing this. So no, it's a whole planetary ascension. Whether some of them will ascend or not, it doesn't matter because they will be relocated to other places. A planet that will have a 3D consciousness.
I see. Okay.
So you don't have to worry about things like that, but Earth itself can no longer contain third dimensional frequencies. That's how come on the Schumann resonance went from 7.83 to 100 and whatever it is now, and it fluctuates back and forth, but it can never be 783 again. All through millions of years, it was 7.83. And then suddenly, 2015 or 2016, the whole Earth started shifting and the time started going faster because things were faster. Because 7.83 hertz is a slower frequency than 110 hertz.
So one other question. You mentioned about grounding yourself. Are you referring to the same thing as earthing? Like
it could be. That's another form of grounding.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding what grounding.
Earthing is another form of grounding. That's when you go barefooted, not barefooted on wood, not barefooted on cement.
Right, it's got to be in earth,
on the earth, on the ground, on the sand, on
water.
That's what. I wanted to tell you specifically something because I know that you follow Joe Dispenza, and I was listening to him the other day, which brought me to something that I had been telling you as a group that if you think we don't work through any of these things, it's not true. We all have to work through it. He says he sometimes gets tells his staff, okay, give me 30 minutes, give me an hour until he gets back into his, because he does not want to miscreate. He refuses to miscreate, so he forcefully puts himself in timeout until he gets his mind, emotions, and everything back on track. And I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, I wish we all had that luxury, though.
No, but I mean, in other words, somebody asked him, I says, do you still get frustrated? Do you still, he says, oh my God, every day, all the time. We all do that.
Right.
And people think, okay, they're teachers and they are over here and, they don't do that. I'm pretty sure Jesus never did that. Never sweated.
Right.
Never did anything unbecoming. Anyhow, yes, Penny.
I actually have two questions. When you're talking about Schumann resonance, I found a website one time where they were monitoring it across the globe, which was very interesting, but it was different in different places. Could that be from the people in those locations were ascending maybe faster?
It depends on where the energy was. Remember that the earth itself is changing, it's unstable at this time.
Okay.
That's how come it cannot remain at a one for what happened through millions of years, and the 7.83 never changed. They never vacillated between higher and lower. Now it is.
Yeah.
And it is because the way that the earth is ascending is different than how we are ascending.
But the earth was in different hertz in different locations on the globe. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it wasn't all, some places it was closer to 7.83 and other places it was much higher. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
And it depends on, no, it also depends on the day, the time of the day, the location.
Different times around the world.
On, right.
Yeah.
For example, you have 1 million people meditating in Thailand or wherever the heck it was, and they took a Schumann resonance and it was 7.83.
Okay.
The whole thing is like, and there was hardly any crime during the time that they were doing that, and everything was more in harmony. And it was recorded, I mean, through the resonance, through the frequency of what we experience. So it started at 7.83, but it slowly climbed up as they continued to meditate. It slowly climbed up. It didn't go sky high. It just very methodically started going up as the longer that they continued on the meditation, the higher the frequency got. But it has a lot to do with where we're at. But I mean, the earth itself will, with humans, whether they're ready or not, doesn't matter.
My second question was, my recollection is we're going from carbon-based to crystal-based, is that correct? And then with that in mind, it seems like we have not just these feelings, these emotions, these things that you had listed, but that we would be having some physical changes as well, because our body would be changing from one substance to something very different. So what might be?
That is part of the ascension. That is what I mean by the ascension.
Can you give us some examples of what we might be feeling as far as physically?
I mean, I don't know if you already know about this, but you already have some parts in your body that are crystalline. Okay. Some of it is already there, and some of it will continue to evolve to be there. We're not going to change the entire body into a crystalline form. What is going to happen is that it's going to give the body enough energy to release all the obstacles to the light and to love's presence and to God, or what we call God, to the source, to the fountain, we have many ways of expressing, but you already have crystals in your body. And you are less dense now. That's why you feel time going by faster. And the lighter you get, the less carbon that you form that you get, the faster that you will experience the frequencies. That's why we are experiencing frequencies faster. That's why the day goes by so quickly. And the higher we get, the faster it will get.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty, put your hands in your heart, on your heart. Take a deep breath of love and release at your own pace. Take a deep breath of peace and release. Take a deep breath of self-kindness. Release and enjoy. You are that perfect being, that perfect light. There is nothing wrong with you. We are only getting the mud out of the way so we can see clearly. You are flowering. You're blossoming. You're coming into your own field, your own frequency. As we're talking, as I am talking to you, it is easier for you to be with people that are higher frequency. It is easier for you to love people that are not in the fifth dimension or are not headed that way, because you understand that they will have their own opportunity whenever they're ready. It's not for us to poke people and attempt for them to go into the way we're going. That's our own individual paths. We are love incarnate. We are the essence of love. We are the essence of peace. Allowing ourselves the privilege of self-love, self-compassion, self-kindness. And as we accept that for ourselves, we offer it to the world. As our cup runneth over, I speak peace to your body. I speak peace to your mind. I speak peace to your soul. I speak peace to your emotions, reminding you that you are that, the spirit of peace. I speak unconditional love to you in mind, body, soul, emotions. You are that. You are the spirit of love, the spirit of compassion, the spirit of joy. It's a self-unfoldment of who we are. We are the safe place. We are our own safety net. We are not alone. We came in the millions. We have never been alone. And the more that people pass or cross over to the other side, the more people we have on our side. Allow yourself to be loved by others. Allow yourself the kindness that others offer you, the goodness and the mercy. You are worthy of all those. You are actually the carrier of those. Allow others to help you, to be of service to you as well, as you are of service to others. It is okay to accept help from others. You are the divine light in human form, shining your light and your love and your luminescence to the world. Seeing this world, the wholeness of who we are. Not in the wholeness of the external, but the wholeness of the internal, of the planet, of the people, of all life, of all beings. I want you to take a deep breath and extend your hands towards the monitor, towards your screen, as you send healing energy to everyone present. I would like us to send also energy not only to everyone present, but also to Pam and to Claudia Mays and to Mary Lou and to each and every one of us. And I say, peace be still, Donna. Peace be still, Virginia. Peace be still, Elsa. Peace be still, Jenny. Peace be still, Rosalita. Peace be still, Penny. Peace be still, Diane. Peace be still, Barbara. Peace be still, Sarah. Peace be still, Angie. I decree and I declare the spirit of abundance to fall, to touch our souls and our spirits and our bodies and our minds and our emotions, to all of us present and the ones that are not present. I ask the energy of vitality and good health to follow us, to be with us, in us, and to express us as perfect health. Allowing peace, allowing joy, allowing compassion, allowing fun. And so it is. Amen. Namaste.
Goodbye, everybody. I have to do another meeting, but it's wonderful, everyone, being with you.
Okay. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you so much, Virginia. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me. Thank you.
We wanted you to. I invited you personally.
Thank you so much. I love you guys.
Thank you. We love you too.
Mwah.
Right. So now it's our time of chatting. You want to stop the